here we go. I mean, rumors from Ethan said, I don't even care what you're about to say because I'm just going to disagree and try to belittle you as much as I can. Please continue.
The rumor from my head is basically this. If we have a Renegade Basketball League, I believe that HBO will televise it because we need a network that can market sports, but that doesn't want NBA TV rights because they will be blacklisted if they do this and they undercut the owners this way. I think HBO is perfect. They have those 24/7s. The 24/7 somehow lent interest to the Winter Classic, which is an utterly meaningless event, and people were crazy about it. With HBO, we could have cursing, we could have fights for some sort of star-driven basketball league. I think it'll be awesome. You know, Henry brought up the prospect today, and I hope it happens. And if it does, I want to be noted right here that I mentioned HBO first, and I want my historical credit if indeed this does go down, which it will.
All right, yeah, I like this idea, and I like HBO behind it just so that we can hear the real talk on the court. Because I think that if you've ever sat next to the court, that is a colorful linguistic landscape, to say the least. And I think that would be completely awesome. I also like Henry's idea of filming it as a reality show. So instead of as a ticket-driven model, you film it as a reality show, and then you let people, for the finals, like for the big games, then you hold them at Madison Square Garden and you blow it out. And it's like $1,000 ticket, like a boxing match would be, where you spend all this time building it up, and then you have a 16-game series or something where a round robin and then through the end. I think it would be really cool.
Do you think, though, that Dwayne Wade and LeBron James would still mock Dirk Nowitzki if they knew that the cameras are always going to be on them?
Well, that's the beauty of this. I feel like without a PR apparatus, as you know, if you want to talk to a lot of Heat guys, well, I don't know how you do it over there, but if I want to talk to guys on the Warriors, I have to go through the PR team, and the PR team has a very vested interest in being a buffer between them and honesty because they want to portray a certain image. I feel like the players would be very honest and would do that, would make those insults. There'd be bad blood, there'd be stuff in the news cycle, there'd be a ton of interest because of this, and the NBA owners couldn't do anything about it. It would be totally out of
It would be so
control.
cheap to run, too, relatively.
Oh, yeah.
Reality TV is so inexpensive.
Well, part of the reason why they want to get the NBA, part of the rationale of not being so explicit and rated R is that they're trying to sell tickets. And the biggest money driver for tickets is families want to have a good outing, so they have to project that nice family atmosphere in order to sell out. Now, if you don't have that incentive anymore where you don't have to sell anyone out, sell out a stadium, you can just go straight in the local YMCA and just do basketball. And in my YMCA gym, we grew up, there was no seats. It was just walls surrounding the court, and it would be probably very dangerous, just considering the velocity that these guys travel in. Do you remember the John Wall throw it off the wall and dunk? I mean, that stuff is fair game. I know it's a little bit of a mix of slam ball and real NBA, but maybe it's more entertaining. And maybe the whole NBA. I don't know if we'll learn much about the players as much as we'll learn about what draws viewers and whether more people will actually watch because my fiance or my mom or my sister might watch now because they're interested in Chris Paul and his family or LeBron James and his family.
Yeah, and I wonder also if the emphasis on the NBA being family friendly is a mistake by Stern. That perhaps David Stern, he's an older gentleman, is very much trapped in the mentality that was described by David Halberstam in Playing for Keeps, that sort of 70s, 80s mentality where the American viewer, there are some racial concerns, they won't embrace the NBA player and they're scared of them. I don't know if that's true today. I think that perhaps people would like that unvarnished, cursing-filled NBA, and they might embrace it more, and sort of the way the UFC's been embraced.
Yeah, but I think if you're talking about the UFC, that's a fringe sport compared to something like the NFL, which goes the complete opposite direction. And, for the NFL, their goal is to deny the personality exists at all. I mean, like Chad Ochocinco, Clinton Portis when he was being kind of goofy. These sorts of personalities, and Jake Hang wrote like a really great piece on Grantland about that. Those are the personalities that are subverted in the NFL. They want to put, there's a reason that you can't take your helmet off on the field even when there's no play going, and it's not because they don't want these people to be, that it's a safety risk. They do that because they don't want you to see faces. I mean, they want people to be replaceable and to be franchises driven rather than player driven, whereas the NBA has always been really personality driven. So I wonder if this would be an instance where if the NBA fully embraced that marketing and almost made it like a ridiculous reality show where Kobe is feuding with Pau and we actually get to see it happen, like if that would drive crazy ratings.
Yeah, but as much as I love the ideal here, I wonder about the infrastructure. I've heard rumors that Nike would be willing to run this whole thing, but the infrastructure of the NBA I don't think can be duplicated overnight. And the media, does media get press passes to these games, or is it strictly a viewer's product?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. I mean, when I went and I got to cover a couple of, the Durant, the Drew Goodman game, and then when the Durant Melo game in Baltimore, and in both instances, the infrastructure was severely lacking. I mean, it really. It's not like the NBA rebuilds this every year. They're the people who run these things in the NBA are so used to it and so used to the players and the different personalities. And like Claudius, I mean, that's a guy who is a pro. Yeah. He's a part-time pro, but what he does very well. And of course, I'm talking about the guy that Kevin Arnovitz wants to lose his job as a stadium worker. No, I'm just kidding. Kevin wrote a great piece on this actually on True Hoops, so check it out. But basically, it would be a very rocky first season. So I don't know, as a one-season thing, if you have spectators, I think that's problematic. That's why I like the more controlled environment, because a TV producer could produce this no problem. Whoever could produce the Contender could do it.
Yeah, to wrap up, I was at the FIU game. I was at the FIU game, and I was so blown away by how actually well run it was. They had the school, they had Isaiah Thomas, so they had all that clout, and someone who's been obviously hanging around with these players and advising these players for so long. But yeah, I think there's potential there, but the infrastructure thing I think is a huge obstacle.